Are you trying to prospect shippers as a freight broker or even an established asset-based trucking company? Well, this video is definitely for you. In this video, we're going to talk about a few ways that you can go about asking shippers certain questions to get an in-depth understanding of what they may be looking for in a logistics partner, whether you're a freight broker or an asset-based trucking company. One of the questions that you can ask a shipper is, are you looking to onboard carriers or brokers? Okay, or carriers and brokers. This gives you a firm understanding of, are you going to be facing an objection for one or the other, to see what they're actually looking for. Another question you may ask your shipper is, when was the last time you onboarded a new broker, for example? The reason you want to do this is you want to see, is there a chance for you to participate in any segment of their logistics needs? So they may come to you and say, well, you know, we just onboarded a new broker last week, and we're actually going to be on contract with them until, 6 months from now, a year from now, for an example, right? This gives you an opportunity to handle that objection and come up with a correct response and a good way to get in and actually try to move some shipments for them. Another question is, how many brokers do you currently work with? The reason you want to ask a question like this is you want to figure out, what kind of shipper is this? Is this a shipper with 400 brokers on their list and they're just trying to get the cheapest rate possible and they don't care about relationships? This will give you an idea of what the shipper is actually interested in. Are they interested in actually forming a long-term partnership with yourself, your company, that is? Or are they just looking for, give me the cheapest rate, I don't care about relationships. Whenever you have the cheapest option, that's when we will go with you. But you're not going to figure that out unless you ask questions of this manner. Okay. Another question out there is, what factors went into your decision to onboard the last broker you brought on? Okay. This gives you an idea also of what else do they consider when they're trying to select a freight broker for their business. Okay. So this could be things like, well, we value communication. We want timely updates. We want quality service. We want trucks that don't break down. We want you to find us carriers that have a good maintenance record, that have a good preventative maintenance procedure, and all of their SOPs are in line with quality service. Okay. They will highlight for you and they will tell you what their problem is. But if you don't ask, you're not going to find out. Another question out there is, for the last broker that you fired, what happened for you to fire them? Okay, this is a good question to ask to figure out, is this a generic issue that they've been having with brokers, every broker making the same mistake? Or is it just a specific isolated incident that is completely unrelated to all the other brokers they've worked with? And this is a good thing to ask when you're sitting down with your shippers and going through potentially working together from that respect. You also want to ask your shippers, what lanes are you currently running? Okay, what lanes are you currently working on? Okay, maybe there's something that is hard to cover, something that's unplanned, ad hoc, as we say, something that you can jump in right away and perform on immediately. Okay. You can also combine this with a question like, are there any lanes that have been giving you more challenges than others? Okay. Maybe you plant a seed in their brain to be like, hey, you know what? We actually have this one lane. It's been really hard to cover. Do you mind taking a look at it? Maybe you have a carrier in your network that can handle this. And that's why you can even match it or combine it with the previous question as well. You can also ask, do you run the same lanes or are they typically unique or different? Okay, the reason you want to ask such a question is you can see whether or not you can constantly use a set of carriers or one carrier to handle all of their business. For example, let's say they have a oversized project and you have a carrier that handles specifically oversized and overdimensional, and they have, let's say, 30 project shipments that need to be shipped from the middle of, Kansas going to the middle of nowhere in Texas, for example. Well, you could go to that oversized or overdimensional company and be like, this is what we have, this is what we offer, and this is what our customer is looking to cover. What can you do this? What can you do this for? Or how can you handle this for us? Okay, in terms of rate and service and everything else. Okay, so that would be an example of them telling you, we have one project that we're working on. It's the same loads. It's just several loads on a project that we're trying to get covered. And it's in your best interest, if you have that type of relationship, to cover it with the same carrier. It'll make your job easier for updates and everything else, and understanding of the loads as well. Although if you do your research, you can also find out from the answer to this question without even asking it, but you could ask your shipper, what equipment types do you need for your shipping? Okay, so maybe it's a customer that's primarily raw components, raw materials, okay, and they're looking to ship this stuff out on, let's say bulk containers, or potentially even step decks or flatbeds. Let's say like coils, steel coils as an example, aluminum coils, whatever the case may be. So this could be a question that can kind of highlight for you, what kind of equipment primarily do they like to use? You can combine this also with a question like, what modes are you moving in? Okay, is it a full truckload type of business? Is it a less than truckload type of business? These are good questions to ask to see where you can fit into that supply chain. Another question you can ask is there flexibility for pickup for your shipments to work to get a lower price? Or is it more of a strict pickup, random times of the day, just, find me an option in 15 minutes? Because that'll affect how well you're going to perform for them, and also the price at which you can perform for them. If they give you a 2-week lead time, you will be more successful finding the right type of carrier for the job at the balanced price. Not to run carriers cheap, absolutely not. But to get a balanced price where the shipper is happy, the carrier is happy, of course, the driver is also satisfied, and you yourself as the broker in the equation is satisfied as well. Or if you're an asset-based carrier, it'll help you kind of align how you're going to service this account moving forward. So that's why you want to ask such a question of this nature. You also want to ask them, within how much time do they expect to have quotes back before they actually award the shipments? This will give you an understanding of, how fast they want you to move. Okay, sometimes the turnaround time for you as a broker can be the world of difference in terms of you actually getting the shipments or not, right? So obviously speed is the name of the game, and you always want to be attentive to your customers, but just figuring it out, just if you have it almost in writing, hey, we need the quotes back in 15 minutes. We need the quotes back in an hour, whatever the case may be, so you know how quickly you're gonna work on this for the customer. One fun question you can ask them definitely is, if all the quotes came back at the same time, okay, the exact same time, at the same price, why or how or in what method would they decide to choose a certain broker or carrier, and why would they choose that specific broker or carrier? So this will give you a good idea of, is it specifically them looking at their incumbents? Is it them specifically looking at their very good, high quality, long time relationships? Or are they just looking to kind of spread the pot all around the table, so to speak? Give a few shipments to this broker, give a few to this carrier. How do they spread out their volume that they have? Another way you can word a question that we've already asked is, outside of price as the main metric, for example, what are the most important factors that you as the shipper would consider when choosing a broker to award a shipment? Okay. Again, this gives you a clear definition of what exactly they're looking for. Okay, what do they value as a shipper in the equation? Okay, you can also ask what months of the year are busiest for you in terms of volume. Okay, so is this a seasonal business? Is it a cyclical business? It'll kind of give you it will not kind of, it'll actually give you a good idea of when they're most busy as the shipper of your choosing. Okay, you can also ask, of course, in retrospect to that. So, what are the slower months for you? Maybe it's June and July, for example. Maybe it's January to March, as an example. The first quarter, as an example. Okay, so this is questions that you can ask your shipper for sure. You can ask them also, do you ever have any shipments that need to go out the same day? Okay, you can also ask, how often do you prefer to receive tracking updates? Okay, tracking visibility is a big deal in today's trucking and logistics world. Okay, everybody seems to want an update yesterday. So asking them when do they want to receive their updates is a good way for you to understand of how important the visibility side of the equation is for the shipper. You can also ask, when was the last time you had a shipment get pushed back a day from a broker? Okay. It gives you an idea of, do these guys have scheduling and timing down, or is it a daily occurrence where they ask you to send in a truck at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. or 8 a.m. and they constantly push back and send away and cancel orders because they made a mistake on the efficiency of their production or preparation for shipping, as an example. Okay. Another question you can ask is there a specific equipment type that is giving you more challenges than others? Okay, to figure out, maybe they're great on the dry van side of the equation, they're great on reefer side, they have good connections all over the place, but they struggle on the open deck stuff, as an example. So now you know how you're gonna tailor fit a solution for this customer. You can also ask a shipper, what metrics do you use to measure the strength of your brokers? Okay, and this will give you an idea of what they value. Again, I have worked for shippers in terms of their business that are asking for an on-time performance of 95%, as an example, or 90%. I know Walmart recently also has limited it down slightly less than what it was before, down to like 90%, as an example. Okay, so it'll give you what metrics they can base it off as well. Maybe they're measurable things that they can actually say, okay, these guys were, out of the last 100 shipments, they were on time for 83 of them, as an example. And maybe that's below the threshold, and then they will have to have an actual corrective action plan for you as a broker or you as a carrier to improve your methods. Okay, so in terms of your on-time performance. So they can tell you what are the key performance indicators that they like to look at, what metrics they use to quantify this, and then you guys can have a discussion on that as well. One of my favorite questions to ask is, what is your biggest challenge in shipping your specific product or products that you ship? This will give you an full master's degree in what the shipper is shipping. They will tell you why their product is hard to ship or what is the hardest part about shipping their own product. Another question you can ask is, what qualities do you look for in a transportation partner? Of course, we've asked similar questions earlier. Of course, you can mix and match these. This is not just you go down the list of 40 questions and ask every single one of them, but you can. But I'm saying is you can mix and match these and see which ones work best for which shippers as well moving forward. You can also ask, just every shipper is going to be different. You can ask, do you prefer a phone call or email when there is an issue? Okay. Now, for us as brokers or us as trucking companies, we may have a different value system in place or a different SOP in place. For me, maybe I like to first give an email, say, this is the problem. This is when it happened. This is apparently why it happened. If I don't know a why, I will tell them we are trying to figure out the reason why this has happened. We will keep you updated every 30 minutes. Okay. And then that's exactly what we do moving forward. I can also give them a call after that email and say, hey, I just sent you an email about an issue we're having on load number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is what's happening. This is why it's happening. Or, hey, we don't exactly know why this is happening, but we're going to find out why. We're going to keep you updated every 30 minutes. I just thought you should know. Okay. So this is why you need to figure out, what do they prefer more? Is it the phone call, the email? Is it maybe a system that they use where you got to put in exceptions or delays in terms of selected options in a TMS system or some kind of system they may be using? Also, you never want to directly put down your competition and make it seem like you're the only option they have in the entire world. Okay, I don't think that's the proper approach. It's a very much old school, annoying salesperson type of approach. So what you can ask is, in terms of something similar, in terms of just trying to figure them out better, you can ask them, what do you like most about your current logistics providers? And they will tell you, and you'll be surprised how many shippers actually open up, even name drop for you. They'll even say, well, we have a few of these carriers, for example, like ABC Trucking, EFG Trucking, whatever, something like that, right? So they'll tell you what's going on and what's happening. Okay, and this is very important because it highlights for you, what are these providers doing wrong? Is it something you also have found out that you and your organization are doing not so correct, so to speak? And then you can resolve it better and be a better service provider in full for all of your shippers, not just the one that you're questioning. You can also ask them, do you move any high value loads? Okay, you can ask them things like, do you have other locations where you are where you are handling all your shipping needs from other locations? Okay, maybe they have a location in Michigan and you're going to service it, let's say, and then a little bit down the road, you can even ask for a referral to their other locations that they may have throughout North America, where now you're expanding not only that specific shipper, but also that shipper's other locations and handle their logistics needs as well. In terms of a volume question you can ask them how many loads do they move per month on average. You can also ask them, do you feel your current brokers handle claims well? Okay. You can share with them your claims procedure as a broker as well and highlight for them how you guys handle things as well, so they can kind of weigh the balance there. Alternatively, you can ask questions such as, for example, how are your customers affected when there are damages to shipments? Okay, this gives you an idea of what kind of customers they service. Okay, is this a production line issue, right? Is this a shutdown material thing? So if things get damaged, it affects what's happening on the other end of the delivery, so to speak. Okay, you can also ask, do your shipments require appointments, or are they first come, first serve? That's a good question to ask, kind of highlight for you, is there going to be more time and effort involved in for you to set up pickups and deliveries as well for your customers? Another question's vital to ask is, do you ever run any multi-stops? Okay, maybe you're trying to go after a Florida plant shipper that has 17 stops or 40 stops along the eastern seaboard. Okay, this is important for you to figure out what you're getting yourself involved into, either as a trucking company or a freight broker as well. And of course, you want to ask what special requirements are needed for your shipments. This is very important to ask. The reason this is important to ask is they will tell you what additional things are needed, such as load bars for extra securement, maybe an E-Track trailer system, maybe a heated van system. Maybe they need inside delivery, white glove service, lift gate service, you name it. They will highlight for you what kind of shipments they have and in full explain to you what you're needed. So you're doing maybe like 30 to 40% of the talking. The rest of the time, you give your shipper the floor to speak to the problems and the things associated to their logistics and shipping needs. You can also, of course, ask things like, would you or your accounting team be the one to send a complete credit application to. Okay, this gives you an idea of how you're going to go about setting up with them. You need to establish a credit with the shipper. I do not advise you just going, I don't even know what word to use. You just going like freelancing, saying, oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, don't worry about credit. Don't worry about paying us on time, and we'll just go with the flow. I would not go down that route. I would definitely go down the credit application route and do your due diligence with the shipper to make sure the shipper is a shipper of choice, someone that would pay on time, because it's important, because you have to pay your carriers. Okay, likewise, if you're a trucking company, cash flow is king. So if you don't have a factoring company, and you can reach out to me for some ideas or examples of some, but you would have to ask such questions to figure out, can you even work with these people in the first place? Okay. And of course, you can also say things like, I'm happy to send you an email with more information on what we do. What specifically would you like to see in that email? Just kind of get an idea of what else they may be looking for from you, to have your contact information, but also the information that may be important for all the decision makers to take a look at and decide whether or not they want to use you as a potential logistics provider. Okay. So that's the questions that I would ask. You can mix and match these, or just use all of them down the existence of this video, essentially. If you guys want more insight, we also have an advanced freight broker course that we teach once a month only, actually. The one this month is coming up at the end of this week. Actually, it's a Saturday and Sunday sessions that we're doing this month. So if you guys, and that's 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys want to take that course, you can reach out to me. Way to reach out to me will be in the descriptions of this video, in the video details of this video. So thank you very much for watching. This is a very important video for you as brokers to watch, or you even as trucking companies to watch, in terms of how to get shippers, how to get customers, and how to talk with these people moving forward. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Please give this video a like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel as well, because it takes a lot of effort to do this. This is 22 minutes out of my day so far to do this. This is not edited. This is just me telling you exactly how you can go about and participate in the logistics industry in North America. All right, so thank you very much. I appreciate it. Cheers, and we'll talk to you again. And reach out to me with anything needed, of course. Thank you.